Hey, what's up? By now, most people by now heard about the Nipsey Hussle incident. It's been talked about time and time on the internet and the YouTube side of everything. And I don't want to get into that. I feel bad for his kids. A black father in 2019 is an endangered species, so I would hate for any child to lose their father, especially in the black community. But what I want to talk about is there's been a coin flip on two issues that branched out from this incident. You have one group saying that you should give back to the quote hood from a distance, and you have another group that says you should just walk away, period. And I agree with the walk away, period. The thing is this: the quote hood and the type of black people that stay in the hood, what you have to understand is this. Most of them, I'm not saying all, so I don't need the not all police on my back on this. Most of them don't really want an opportunity. If you've made it, and what I mean made it, you don't have to be a rapper, a millionaire. What I mean by made it is if you've upgraded yourself, like if you upgrade yourself from poverty to lower class, middle class, or anywhere up from poverty, you're pretty much on your way. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you're some rapper that's making millions of dollars to be considered that you made it. Made it means you're able to get out of there. And when you deal with the ones that you've left behind, they rarely ever really want a blueprint to what it is that you've done, who did you connect with, and what are you, and explaining them what you're doing in order for them to follow that blueprint and possibly make their way out of there also. What they want is a handout. It's the analogy of you teach the guy to fish. When you try to teach them to fish, what they're gonna do is ask you, well, why can't you give them the fish that are in your cooler? That's the type of mentality that they have. Also, the majority of that community is raised, reared, socialized, conditioned. Traits have been picked up from black single mothers, and the pretty much the whole community is a matriarchy, right? How do you grow with individuals that come from that type of background? How? The jealousy, the envy that's pent up with them, those traits that they picked up from their mother, that is not a trait that men have or what men that you want to grow with should be having. And that is in abundance in the black community, inside, not inside the ghetto, inside the quote hood. And I just think it's come to a point because this problem has been ongoing since the early late 70s into the 80s, with a coincidence with the woman liberation movement. And it's to the point now that decent black men who have their stuff together, men who have their heads together, it comes a point where you have to pack your bags and you got to walk away. Because what's happening is the image of black men is being shaped by the ghetto, by the hood. The image of black men is being shaped by Pookie, Daquavius. This is what the image is. And these guys don't have no interest in trying to grow. They don't want to get out of there. Only reason they want you to continue to engage and use your guilt to get you back there to say that you need to go back and help out is because all parasites need a host. If all the valuable black men leave, who's going to be their host? They're going to be stuck there amongst each other, low IQ individuals just like themselves, sitting there looking at each other with neither one having two nickels to rub together because the quality black men have left. I think that it's the Nipsey Hussle situation. It's something about when we've had a lot of rappers murdered. This goes all the way back Tupac Shakur, Jam Master Jay. We've had many rappers murdered, and the difference, I think, with this is now you get a video, you get an optics of another black male approaching another black male in a community that he's trying to help. Yes, I understand he had a past and all those things like that. Malcolm X had a past. Does that mean he should have never bettered himself and try to do what he had to do for the black community? And to see this guy brutal, just cold blood murder, and afterwards just kicks this guy in the face. The kick in the face, to me, that comes from a place of envy and hate. And this is what you want to try to grow with. This is who you want to lend your hand back and say, come on, come along with me on this journey to try to be successful. You cannot grow with them. Look at the white community, because all communities have their quote unquote ghetto. We'll use the white analogy of white trailer park trash. Do you see white people who make it get into a middle class, into the upper class, entrepreneurs? Do you see them saying, well, I'm going to go back to the trailer park. I'm going to go back and try to bring meth head Daniel up with me. You don't see, they understand that those people don't want you. You can't do nothing for them. They just want you to give them shit. They don't want the blueprint to business. They don't want a blueprint to how to clean themselves up and go out there and try to seek employment. What they want is when you come there, they want to ask you for $10, for $20, or ask you to do something for them. And I'm thinking, the main ones, these Bonquishas of the world, or these Pookies of the world, that are always talking about or using guilt to lure black men that have trying to get them lives together to come back and do something for their community. I'm starting to translate that into parasites don't want their hosts to leave. You can't grow with them. And if you try, and as things progress, they're going to look at you in the eyes of jealousy and envy. Why? Because they see you through the same lens that that black woman sees you. She raised and reared him. Niggas ain't shit. Where do you think that they get that from? That is a slogan that black women use. They've been using this for generations. They're not shit. I don't need them. Imagine you're raising a boy to think the same way. You told him his father ain't worth a crap. So if his father ain't worth a crap, how is he going to look at other black men? This is a problem we can't fix unless the black community's natural order and natural order of things is restored back to what it's supposed to be. I just have to say, in my opinion, I think that it's a done deal. It's nothing you can do. For you clean-cut brothers, you brothers who care about the way you present yourself, and you go out in society and you present yourself in the right way, you have to cut bait with, Lil Gerard of the hood, who's got his pants down to his ankle. And when you try to explain this to him, he calls you the Uncle Tom, you're the coon. They don't want to change. All they want you to do is when you become successful, you throw some money back at them. They don't want a blueprint. They want a handout. It's time for us to work on changing the image of with black men who have their stuff together, who also have their mind together, and leave these low IQ knuckle draggers alone. because at the end of the day, all they're going to do is bring you down. I want to give you an example on something recently that happened in my life. There was a barbecue. A lot of times in black communities, you'll have, like, they call them barbecue stands. This guy would he when he started, he had a pickup truck, and he had a his grill pit hooked to the trailer to the back of his truck. So basically what he would do, he would sell barbecue from the back of his truck. The pit was to there, and then he'll set up tables and condiments for everybody to use. And the ribs turned out to be a blast. In other words, like, every time you go there, it'd be a long line. He pretty much made pretty good living for himself doing that. So I guess he decided that he wanted to expand the business from the truck into more of a building setting where, you could possibly have maybe two or three people work with him. He can actually sell more product. It'll be in a building setting. Maybe you could dine, you can also sit and dine in. When he went to go with this plan, which was going to be in the black community, and he went ahead and went with this plan, and he set everything up, more money started rolling in. Do you know that this guy when he went home, these same black men from that community set him up for a home invasion robbery? Not only did they rob him, they took his money, but they also murdered him. This is the same guy that tried to build a business in that same community, possibly employ a few blacks within that community to help his business grow, and he was murdered for doing that. What are you going to do about people who think like that? What are you going to do about these mental disorders with a lot of blacks in this community? A lot of them have mental disorders. A lot of those kids were born not out of love, but for a check. So what that means is, if the she's looking for the nearest dummy who's willing to have unprotected sex with her so she could get pregnant and collect a government check. Now think of what type of lineage she's picking from. No guy in his right mind wants to create a family with her. She picks the bottom of the barrel, mentally disturbed, low IQ individual, and she procreates with these guys because the kids did not come out of love. They came for a government check. And she would do this multiple times. She would have, 5 or 6 litters from 3 or 4 of these savages. And this is what they're telling us to go back to and help contribute. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. It hasn't worked by now. If you look, we're killing our assets and letting the liabilities live. The liabilities are still lurking around here. Some of them are living full lives until the streets take them. But the assets in the black community are being taken down by jealous-hearted, catty, effeminate black men that were raised and reared by black women. How are you going to build with that? How are you going to grow with that? I just want to state my opinion on it. At the end of the day, every man has his choice. If those who want to go back and get themselves caught up in that environment thinking that they're helping it, you can go right ahead. But for those who see that there's no way that any guy that has any means or worth any salt, and he just needs to walk away and start anew with like-minded thinking guys, I'm all for you on that. I just don't think I think it's too generationally destroyed. And until the natural order is restored, then you could come to the table and try to negotiate on if you want to give back or not. But as long as the black community is a matriarchy, the only people, most of the people you're going to be dealing with are going to be jealous, catty, effeminate-minded black men. That the moment you try to do better for yourself, they're not going to look at you through the eyes of admiration. They're going to look at you through the eyes of envy. And unfortunately, that envy could cost you your life. Take care.